Is there a way we can see?
I think I'm having some internet issues right now. Of course, being in Germany, internet doesn't work. So if I'm lagging, please let us know. And otherwise, Jad and Ashray will take over. But I think we should be good to go. Just a quick disclaimer here, trying to fix my internet connection. But yeah, being in Germany, that is a very, very common issue. Now, maybe Jad and Ashray can also quickly introduce ourselves so everybody knows what is going on, and then we can have a quick introduction.
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, we are Immersive Insiders. We work with XR, doing all kinds of content, educational content about how to create and create projects in XR, start your business in XR, and all of that. I'm Jat Taubi. I am a developer at Immersive Insiders. Ashray, maybe you can talk a bit about yourself as well.
Yes, so I'm also a developer and researcher here at Immersive Insiders. And for those of you who don't know, we create content and we try to teach you guys how to make AR and VR application in the most simplest way possible. So we do all the research backend and then help you guys to make apps and games in the most simplest way possible.
Yes, I actually started really recently here at Immersive Insiders. I was formerly a student.
Yes.
So Immersive Insiders were teaching us at my university, and now I'm working here. So we would love to hear more about what you guys do, where you guys are joining us from, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever that may be.
Yes.
So how can we see the chat actually?
If you join from LinkedIn, you'll see that we have 48 viewers right now joining us.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube might be different. I'm not sure yet, but we can check.
Yes. Yep. We can see there's quite a few in here as well.
Okay, wonderful.
Awesome.
I will be starting this any second. My page is still loading. Of course, everything is a little bit slower when you do a live stream. Oh god, oh god. Now we see questions and comments coming in. Wonderful. So this is good.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today's exciting because we're going to be doing a tier list with a bunch of different aspects of starting with XR, what are some good things to think about, some bad things maybe, and we're going to be putting them in a tier list, seeing what's the most effective things and kind of seeing pros and cons and discussing it with you guys. Of course, any questions that you might have, any suggestions that you might want to have for us to put in the tier list, that's always welcome. That's actually going to be super fun for us to discuss and figure out together.
Yep. Exactly. And now,
by the way, I'm very curious to know where you guys are from.
Yes, same here.
Ashray, you were saying?
Yeah, no, I was just wondering where all of them are joining from, like around the world. I was just curious to know.
Can you guys see the screen actually?
Yes, we can see it.
Now we can. Okay, wonderful. So, first of all, is there any lag on me, Ashray, Jad? Just give us a thumbs up if you can see us and hear us clearly. That would be wonderful. I would love to see that. Oh, you guys, yeah, we will stream on Twitch anytime soon, but please give us a thumbs up if we are good and give us a thumbs down if it's or some problem. So where are you guys from? I think that is something that we would love to see. And in the community from LinkedIn and YouTube mostly, Are you guys more on the development side or the design side? We will cover both of them. And then, of course, we have again like YouTube and LinkedIn, but we don't need to discuss that. So really these two, and then we can get started. So we have a developer who's watching from YouTube in Finland. Hello.
Welcome,
So
everyone.
there's some lag. Yeah, I think the lag is from my side. Sorry for that. Okay. Wonderful. Seeing some people coming in here, which is beautiful.
Nice, nice. We have so many. We have people from so many different places and different backgrounds. We have designers, we have devs, UX designers, people from Stockholm, Birmingham, California,
Toronto.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's
Working with Exa Enterprise.
It's just like us. We're, of course, Immersive Insiders is based in Germany, but we're all around the world right now.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. That's a really good mix. Okay. Italy, Greece, Bangladesh, Austin, South Korea. Man, that's a perfect timing also. I think that's really cool. I would like to know which one you two is worth to learn. Unity, Engine, and Unreal. Oh yeah, we will have a hefty discussion with Unity and Unreal already.
The big question.
So things are getting heated already. Cool. All right. Yeah, I think I will also move on to the next part now. So just a quick agenda. What are we going to do here? Very, very simple. Again, we like simple things. So we will have a XR career tier list for developers and designers, which means we will have 2 tier lists. And we're just discussing them, discussing tools, strategies, any ideas. And I think it's really important to have your questions, your feedback. We have gathered some of them already into our FigJam board. But again, let's make this a two-way street so we make it interactive and we answer your questions as much as possible. Tell us something from the discussion. Wonderful. Lots of amazing people here. So let me see. Yeah, I think we can get started. It's like 6:10 already, and I think we can now get into the tier list. All right. So before we start, I give this also like again 2 minutes to throw in some of your questions, maybe some tools, some strategies, some concepts, some things that you are doing to trying to improve your career in the XR developer field and in the XR designer field. We have a couple of them already in here from a recent TLS that I did, but we have a dedicated section over here from community. So you guys, you can throw in whatever you want to, and then we will start discussing these, and then we will handpick some of them. These are already like some of the handpicked ones that we got already, but now since you are live here, we can basically get started and have a nice discussion all together, and yeah, just see how it goes. So I will just leave the chat open for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then we can get started with the tier list, I would say.
Yeah, let us know if you have any suggestions. We'll create basically new bubbles with whatever thing we want to discuss and put in the tier list.
And in the meantime, I will just see if the stream is working.
Yes.
How much of 3D design do I need to learn for designing XR? Which are the best tools that I need to learn that the industry is asking for? Oh yeah, the bubbles are a bit hard to read, Dinesh.
Oh, okay, I can
There's
make
a
them
way
bigger.
to make them bigger or to zoom in a bit on the screen. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, thanks for the feedback. Again, we want to make this a two-way conversation. So, of course, we need your feedback on these. Let me just
I
make
think we
it.
should zoom in a little more. It's still a little
Yeah,
hard to read.
absolutely.
Yep.
Damn it, now it's getting a bit tight on my screen, but I
Hello.
think we are good.
Nice to see you too.
So I will just zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, that is better.
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay,
Let's see what the
wonderful.
chat thinks. Maybe chat, you can let us know as well if everything is visible and clear on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Game with we have features and all this stuff.
Yeah, Kareem says it's looking good now.
Oh, nice, nice. Thank you so much. Oops.
We have a very interesting question by Caro, who asks, which are the best tools that I need to learn that the industry is asking for? This is something that a lot of people ask. It's a very common question. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
don't know where to start or what tools to learn. And
Mm-hmm.
we're going to cover some of these here. We're going to be rating them, which ones are most important or the most relevant tools. We're going to put some of them here and
Mm-hmm.
talk about how important they are compared to using them for getting into the XR industry.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Yeah, I would say definitely Flavio, Anna, Jad, Ashra have a good overview on these questions. We can blend them in
Mm-hmm.
and then we can answer the questions while also discussing the tier list. So also just for you in the chat, we will have a dedicated Q&A session after the tier list anyways. So don't worry if we don't cover your question in this tier list because we will answer them later on. So no worries here. All right, I think we can get started, right?
Yep.
So, which
Yes.
one out of these should we start? I think let's start with the most obvious one. Maybe we can make it in the order. So, George, you can start, then myself, and then Ashra, and we just like rotate which one we want to pick, and then what order we want to go. In the meantime, the chat, you guys, you can always throw in something you want us to rank, and then of course we include them immediately over here.
Mm-hmm.
So, George,
Yes.
go ahead.
The first one I want to get into is the 3D understanding one because we actually got asked this question.
Oh,
In
nice.
chat.
Where is it? Where is 3D understanding? Am I blind?
3D
Ah, here.
understanding is all the way
Yeah.
to the left. Yes.
Okay.
So how important do we think
For
3D
developers
understanding
and for
is?
designers.
Hmm.
Yeah, George, you go ahead. You start.
You start. I mean, personally, I think that for developers, it's probably on the lower tiers, and on designers, it's probably on the higher tiers. Um, because developers themselves don't really need to understand much about creating 3D assets to be able to develop functioning XR projects. Uh, no need for them to be very beautiful or like of course you won't have your custom um, 3D objects, 3D models, or whatever. But for a developer, you can still create projects for XR without having too much of an understanding. So I would personally put it at B tier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. Go ahead.
Yeah, what do you think, Dinesh? Sorry.
Yeah, also as a developer, I think it's important to have that's why it's recommended, just also for you guys to know. S tier must have, A tier highly recommend, B tier recommended, C tier optional. If we have anything that we think is useless, we just throw it outside of the tier list.
Mm-hmm.
F
But
tier.
in general, yeah, F tier exactly. But yeah, I totally agree to Judd. I think good it's good to know about 3D understanding. It's a bit more than optional because you should know about vertices and like the performance optimization and how all of that stuff works, surface normals, etc., etc. And that's why I would also put it in B tier. For designers, it's a little bit higher, but not super high. Personally, I think because it's also something that you will be using these assets. So you don't need to know how to use Blender to model your own things. It's a good thing. It's kind of like between highly recommended and recommended, I would personally say. It's more important. There are other things as a designer that I would say are more important. L tier, loser tier. By the way, also in the chat, all of you guys, Anna, our Ixa designer, is also active in the chat. So, of course, any thoughts that you have, Anna, or of course, any other designer in the community, in the chat, leave us your thoughts. Maybe you think, Jada and I, we are full of shit. It should go here or here. I think that's the beautiful part about like ranking these things that, of course, not everybody will agree on the same things. So that is why I think it's really cool to have everybody joining the discussion. But yeah, I think that is a
Yes.
pretty good feeling at least. I will go with the next one. So I will go, of course, the big ones, the game engines. Game engines, I would say it's an S tier for developers, and in here, game engines, even to make it a bit more concrete, Unity slash Unreal, and I will go in that in a second. For designers, I would say it's pretty much here too. Like it's between highly recommended and must. It's really, really, really recommended. Maybe not
Yeah.
a must, but really, really, really recommended to have a base understanding of Unity and or Unreal, even as a designer. And again, designers, throw in your popcorn 2 cents into how you think about that. As a developer, I think this is in the XR field. Game engines, as so Unity and Unreal, are really the backbone of this industry. There is a 90% chance that you will be using and working with one of these. Again, things might change with like super native stuff in the future, especially with AVP, etc. But at the time of this live stream today, I think these two, we don't need to discuss too much about that. As a developer, that's going to be your main thing. As a designer, this is going to be your main thing. About the question, about the eternal questions, and also let us on the community. Are you a Unreal side or Unity side? I personally think both are totally fine. Both are capable of pretty much everything. To be honest, Unity is really good. The main difference is Unity works with C Sharp, Unreal works with C++, and that is really the biggest thing. Of course, with Unreal in general, you have like higher graphical fidelity, and with Unity, you generally have more job opportunities, more people, a bigger community, and that's it really for the biggest difference out of my personal feeling. Of course, now we have Unity fanboys attacking me and Unreal fanboys attacking me, but maybe Jad Ashray, let us know your 2 cents.
Yeah, I think I would prefer Unity because in terms of developer perspective, most of the SDK that comes out first for Unity and then Unreal. So in that way, I feel Unity has an advantage and Unreal not so much.
We got a really good question that I would love to address and also rank in the tier list. I can even show them myself. From Karim, are certifications important to have with respect to game engines? Do they provide an advantage? I think that's a really good question. So I would address this and by adding that into the from community. Really good. I did not think of that actually. Certifications.
Hmm.
Um, I will go ahead and rank both of them to the even lower level optional. They are not
Yes.
useless, so they don't go into the F tier. They don't go into trash tier. I personally, I think it's maybe slightly overrated. Again, like people will hate me for that, maybe. But I think it's if you build your portfolio that shows your skills and capabilities more than most certifications. Of course, sometimes certifications are needed, so they are helpful. They are a nice. That's why they're optional. They are a nice add to your resume, to your LinkedIn profile. But the reason why I have them as optional, if I would have to choose person A has a certification, but no proof of the thing that the person is certified. Let's say multi-user VR apps, because that is what we are working on right now. If a person has a certification on a multi-user VR app, but I don't see anything and I can't really verify whether that person actually can build it or not, or maybe just pass a multiple exam choice questionnaire, versus another person who does not have this certification. So all of us, I guess, in that case, for building multi-user VR apps, I would always go with the person who actually built the thing. Um, I'm still not saying that certifications are useless, but I think they are maybe slightly overrated in today's time. Again, Ashray, Jad, your 2 cents.
Yeah, I would say definitely for someone who uses LinkedIn a lot and sees many people publishing their works and showing their works on these different social platforms, it's a lot of people reach out to the person because they showcase their project, not because they went on their profile for no reason and saw, oh, they have
Mhm.
certification on this or that skill. So the just the fact of seeing someone's work instead of just seeing the check mark of a certification, it's already a lot more important on the tier list here, I would say. So it makes sense that certifications is C tier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got a really good question again, which I would also love to rank and also brag. 1 second, where is it? Holy moly! Can you please? Yes, this is a really good question. From it's so small. Istiak, I think. Can you share best 2 to 3 portfolio examples that I can use as a reference to build up my portfolio? That oh, that's that looks good to recruiters and clients. So on this moment, I would like to brag a little bit with Jad and Ashray. And I will, again, like that's why we do these live streams. People on the live streams, you get some really good insights because we are working on something really amazing. And first of all, I would put portfolio building. There we go, into S tier. Maybe like this is low S tier for developers, and it's high S tier for designers. Maybe because I'm biased, but I think portfolio like developer can just throw in his or her Git repository, which is kind of a portfolio, but for designers it's even more important. Like for designers, it's the
Yeah.
first thing I look immediately. With developers, there are other ways to figure out whether the person is competent or not, but still portfolio is really high, but here portfolio is a must-have. So to answer the question, yes, portfolio is a must-have. That's why it's like edging on must-have. Can you share 2 or 3 portfolio examples? Yes, I can, because my friends, these people who watch it online, let me show you guys some things we're working on. We are working on our own portfolio platform. So first of all, we have Jad and then Ashray, which is beautiful because we are building our own portfolio platform, which is gonna be called Immersive Talents. It's in beta right now. You can ask us via DM for early access if you want to. It's not live yet. I don't even know how much we price that in the future, but for now it's in the early access. And this is how it can look. So, Jad, which one would you like to showcase? The Fruit Ninja, maybe?
Yep, go ahead. That's
So, Jad built as part of his back then internship at Immersive Insiders, he built the VR Fruit Ninja app. And now we can see, we can check out the project. I don't know. Oh, yeah, it links to the Google Drive link. So here you can download it basically. It just links to the APK. And then we have some description, what it does. We have a nice video, which you guys can check out on our YouTube channel, of course. But that's what we built.
where we go
Really
all
awesome.
about how to create it.
Exactly. We also teach you how to build the whole thing. And then a couple of questions, what challenges did you overcome, etc., etc. So this is how you build a portfolio. This is the questions you should have in mind. You always should have a video and a couple of images, and you want to have a collection of your projects. So just to be also transparent here, let's also show the one from Ashray. Ashray, is it called Ashray or Ashray Pi? I don't know exactly.
It's just Ashray, yeah.
So we have Ashray as well. He also built some amazing things. I don't know. Let's just use the AI. Or which one do you want to showcase?
I think we can use the medical AR app or something like that. Yeah.
So we had some medical demos that we built, and here we see, okay, cool. We have a video, we have a description, we have some nice images, and there we go. So this is how you build a portfolio. We at Immersive Insiders, of course, we will help you building that. Really good question. Let's go back into this one here. Portfolio building, S and S. Ashray, which one do you want to pick? Maybe there's a question that fits with a ranking, but if not, then you can just go ahead and pick one of these.
Let's see. Yeah, I think I would go ahead and pick XR exposure, and I think I would rank it somewhere in the B tier because I feel to start your career as a XR developer, you don't need that much of an XR exposure. For example, in my case itself, I started as a mechanical engineer with absolutely no
Ah, yes.
exposure to AR or VR. And then as you learn Unity, you learn programming, you slowly start to get exposed to it automatically. So you don't have to have the exposure initially. So that's why I think as a designer, you can start it with B tier, and the same is applicable for designer as well. So that's what I feel personally.
Yeah, I am
So
exposure for both of them in the B tier.
yeah, I think both of them should go into BD. Even for designers, I think 3D designers start off with probably something like Figma and stuff like that. And then converting into XR should not be that much difficult as far as I know. But 3D designers, XR designers can tell us about it. I think Anna
Mhm.
is the best one who can tell us if I'm right or wrong.
No, but I mean, there's not really a right or wrong. I have a slightly different opinion here. I would maybe rank the XR exposure on the XR designer a little bit higher, like almost like at the edge of
Hmm.
the recommended, kind of like here, because you need to try out a lot of different interactions. Like there are tons of different games with tons of different interaction models. Like how do you build a lobby? How do you do a menu? How do you switch colors? How do you use the controller? How do you do a tutorial? And as a designer, by exposing yourself, it really helps you to see what is out there, what is not. Also, the really shitty applications, they also help you a lot in actually understanding, hey, what is good, what is bad. So I think I would put it slightly higher, but I think otherwise I would totally agree with having the extra exposure in the recommended tier, but not like must have or super essentials.
Dinesh,
Yeah.
I 100% agree, and I think this leads very nicely into UX design
Oh yeah, where is
because
it?
we don't have
Uh,
it here. Maybe we can add it.
we use fundamentals.
Yes,
Yes.
UX fundamentals, right. And I think this one goes very high up, probably top of A tier for XR designer and low A tier for XR developer. Um,
Hmm.
because, as you said, XR exposure, which is the previous point that we ranked,
One
is
second,
super.
Jot. One
Yeah.
second. There's somebody very good. Again, I love you guys. What is extra exposure? Maybe you just explain it real quick and then we go talk about it.
Right, right. So XR exposure, what we mean by this is uh, as a person uh, watching, experiencing, trying out different types of XR products, projects, games, all of that, and basically digesting all of these experiences to learn about what XR is. This is what XR exposure means. That's what
Hmm.
we mean by it.
Yeah.
So, uh, taking in a lot of XR content is that's what we put at B tier for both developer and designer. And exposing yourself to these XR projects will also give you the UX fundamentals for XR. It will make you understand what things are super essential design wise when creating VR, for example, VR games. Some of the things like lag, like motion sickness, all of that, how to deal with it in different design ways, how to optimize and make the experiences more immersive, things like that. That's a lot of things that you will learn from XR exposure, and it will give you the UX fundamentals. So yeah, and UX fundamentals are super important because they will allow you to go through these experiences without wanting to take off your headset and throw it away, or
Hmm.
just throw your phone away because it's not working properly, or you're feeling dizzy or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think I
8 tier
have
100%.
a
definitely.
question here to ask. So, if you're talking about UX fundamentals, and would you prefer typing in into a VR system with a controller or with a touch of a hand? Because that's what Apple Pro is doing right now, and I'm not sure if that's the right way to
Right.
do it.
I mean, Apple Vision Pro does it differently. Like they don't do it this way. They'll do it like by looking at the letter and tapping it. I mean, I haven't tried
Yeah.
it out yet. To be fair, so I don't know how it is, but that could be something interesting in the future. I think that's much faster than having this shaky laser pointer. That's always my favorite example because that is like the worst way, I guess, to do.
Mm.
Um, but it could also be faster than just like typing it. I
Yeah.
think both of them are kind of okay. I think probably the one with the eye tracking and the tiny tap would probably be the fastest, maybe if we try it out.
No, I
You
think
know,
for me the
Dinesh,
laser pointer is the fastest. Yeah.
go ahead. Oh, you
Ah,
think so?
Yeah.
Ashra,
interesting.
I think personally, from what I've tried
Mhm.
with the Quest 3, with a controller,
Yeah.
you can use your hand still. So if you bring the controller
Yeah.
close, you can swipe to type, and that's the
Yes.
fastest that I've been able to type in VR.
Oh, yeah, I
So not
tried it,
really
but
Mhm.
for some
shaking.
reason, I still feel the control is the best. Like you just point at it and go like that as fast as possible, and then
Hmm.
it's some. I think it depends on how big your keys are and how far it is from you. I think the farther it gets, the shakier the laser becomes. The smaller it gets, it
Mhm.
gets harder to click. So
Yeah, it
I
should be
think
pretty
it's based
close.
on, yeah. I think
Okay,
those are.
so what next?
D-
Community. Which one should we rank next?
Dinesh, I think
Um,
there's a important question here.
oh yeah, go ahead.
It was
You can
asked
highlight
pretty
it.
early on. How do I add it?
You can hover over the chat and then go to show. If not, you
I
can try
don't
to.
think I can because I don't have
Oh,
host.
then I can do it. Let me know which one it is.
Um, it's by Adriano Lopizzo. Which programming languages are most used in the field? That's
Oh
at
yeah, okay.
1813. Do you see that?
Holy, maybe that person can just ask the question again so we see it.
Oh yeah, it's pretty far back. It's at 18. Uh, where was it?
Yeah.
I lost it too.
So Adriano, you can, if you want, you can ask the question again, and then we can show it in the highlights. But I think otherwise, we can rank the
Yeah.
next dual skill concept. So we have a couple left. Again, it doesn't have to be these ones. You can also ask a freestyle one.
Oh, something happened.
Nope, I think, yeah. Seems
Dinesh
like it's connection.
disconnected.
No worries. We can still do this.
Yes. Um, Ashray, can you
Um,
share it?
yes, I'm sharing. Just give me a second. It's about to
Okay.
load.
Maybe I can actually answer that question by Adriano. Which programming languages are most useful in the field? Since we're mostly using Unity and Unreal Engine, the the languages that are the most relevant are C Sharp and C++. These are the ones that you really want to know about at least a bit. C Sharp for Unity, C++ for Unreal Engine. And of course, other languages are used for example, web VR and web AR and all of that. But yeah, C Sharp and C++ are the most relevant.
Okay, yeah, I'm back. Sorry, my internet again. Oh goodness. To become a Oh yeah, that is a good question also. I like that. To become a good XR developer, how much programming knowledge is required? Oh, I read to become a good XR designer. Okay, that
Right.
is pretty difficult to uh, to
Rank.
rank and answer. I mean, like, what is how? Like, I mean, I will, first of all, I will put this, of course, into essential must tier because that is like your literal job, which means
Mhm.
that is like the thing you will do day in day out. To become a good XR developer, I think that question is really, it should be more specific, but maybe Ashray and Jad, since you guys just got hired by me at Immersive Insiders, you can maybe share your journey a little bit to help this person explain it.
Yeah, I think
Definitely.
it's a two different journey for me and Jad. So, Jad, you go ahead and then I'll add on to it.
Okay, yeah. So for me, who came from a background of game design and a programmer, it was really important for me and useful to have the programming skills to be able to achieve greater things when designing XR projects. In my class, where I was learning VR and XR development, I was the developer in different teams. I was always the one who went more into the coding and the programming, and because of that, the projects were able to be more intricate in the types of interactions and the types of design that you want to get into. Of course, that's super useful, especially in XR, where it's all about interactions, right? For someone who's trying to get into XR, but they're more in the design slash artist field, you can achieve a lot with very minimal knowledge of programming. So I would put it at a lower tier for design and at a higher tier for developer. What do you think, Ashra?
Yeah, I think I would agree to that too because from my background, like starting as a mechanical engineer with no programming at all, learning programming as a developer, you do require it, but I think it's something that you will gradually get it anyway. So having programming knowledge, I think, is good, but it's I don't know how to put it across. So let me give an example. So the best thing is. Let's say you're a developer and you want to make some sort of an interaction, right? The only way you can do it is by programming. So and to get that programming knowledge, we have documentations from like whichever SDK you're using and stuff like that. You don't have to remember it all the time. So having a good level of programming knowledge should be enough, is what I feel. So I think as a developer, I would probably put it in A tier, and as a designer, not so much, probably in the B tier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have programming now as C tier, optional,
I,
because it's good to have it, but it's not like super recommended, super highly important. Because like the thing is, like every skill that we rank high takes energy away from these skills that are also high. So what I mean by that is, for example, let's just take um, project management or 2D design is a good one. If I rank 2D design high on the developer side, which of course makes no sense, it kind of distracts the energy from programming in game engines and portfolio building. So it's like
Right.
now all of them are 25% because this is up here, and now all of them are 33%. Which is why we should be really trying to have as little up here as possible. Speaking of 2D design, of course, this is optional over here. And the designers can let me know or can roast me. I would also put it as optional because I think in a spatial medium 2D design, it's good, but it's not recommended or highly recommended. Just to make this
Yeah.
point really fast. There was one really good question I actually favorited, which I want to address, which is really good. Again, we had Istia, we had you a couple of times already. What do you mainly prioritize when recruiting, except portfolio building and soft skills? So this is a really good question. Um, Let me see. Actually, I wanted to say soft skills, but now you just mentioned soft skills yourself, which means just for anybody also listening, like these two skills are already like if you have these two, you are pretty good to go. By portfolio building, it kind of means hard skills because you can only build a portfolio having projects if you have the hard skills. So if you combine hard skills and soft skills, that is already really, really good. So you are at the 80, 90%, let's say 80 percentile. A few ways how you can make your chances a lot higher, and I talk about this a lot, and I talk about this out of personal experience, is by building your personal brand, building your network, and connecting with people. I think this is highly, highly underrated, actually, which is a good point. Do we have networking here? Not really. We also have personal brand here. So thanks for the question you created. Community. I would say this one here, personal brand, and oh god. And again, I would have this as like super highly recommended for both of them. Maybe UX fundamentals can go to must here because that is also your main job. So we have these two over here. I think personal brand is something that you can add, which makes the whole thing much stronger. Because if you create content, for example, on doesn't have to be LinkedIn necessarily. It can be LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. It can be your own blog. But if you share your own personality, what you learn, all of these things outside, it has multiple effects. First of all, it shows that you can process your insights and bring them out to an audience that likes reading, listening, watching about it. But it also, and this is kind of like a thing which is like hard to guess for people who are not doing that, but it gives you a ton of, it opens a ton of out of doors because it gives you online status, let's call it this way. It makes it so much easier. I'm not saying like this is fair or unfair or this actually representing your amazing character or your skills or whatever it is. But if it's somebody that has 50,000 followers in XR, this person is automatically ranked higher than somebody who has 20 followers, for example. Even though it's an artificial number, I still think it has a huge effect on the psychology of a lot of people, and it makes a big difference. I saw this for myself when I started YouTube 6 years ago, I think, or so, how much of a difference it made. I got all of my jobs, I got most of my jobs, I got most of my clients, most of my big projects reaching out to me just because I was building my brand. And I think this is like the last key piece next to hard skills and soft skills that you can do to really elevate your career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashray, there's actually one question that I think is really interesting to tackle here, and I
Mm-hmm.
think you are the perfect person for it because you've explored it a bit. It's a question by Kareem who says, "What do you think about the future of XR designers with all the AI tools that will help accelerate the workflow?
Oh, yeah.
Are the skills needed going to change?" You have tackled a bunch of different projects with AI tools, and you know a bit about different kinds of tools that can help you with creating XR projects. So, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think AI tools is going to be helpful, but not entirely if you're making fully publishable project, something like that. Because right now, Unity has released their Centis, which I have used, and it does pretty good job, but it doesn't give you the accurate results that you want. Say, suppose you're working on a project or a client-based project, and they have certain specification that has to be done by a designer, and that cannot be taken away by an AI. I mean, AI cannot do that work for you. So from my personal experience, it does the work, but might not match your needs. So so to answer that question, where did it go again? Yeah, so I think it will not replace entirely, but up to some extent, it will. It'll definitely help you maybe prototype, but maybe not make a fully production ready game or something like that.
Definitely. And something to add on that is that the AI tools that the developer will be using are different than the AI tools that the designer will be using. For
Yeah,
example, the developer might use ChatGPT to try out some code and figure out some new ways to create intricate interactions, while the designer, like you said, Ashray, They might use
Mm-hmm.
what was it called with the Unity Centus
Send
Mm-hmm.
this, yeah.
to create materials, textures, and all of that to accelerate the process of getting something that looks nice rather than working on the code side.
Yeah.
Definitely, the
We have
skills needed will change with time with the different AI tools that will get introduced.
Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
if you're a programmer who knows how to use AI prompts and write scripts faster, you will get hired like more easily than a person who would take longer time to write the same program. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
my personal opinion, but
Yeah,
what do
you
you have
still
to
need
say
the
about it?
fundamentals of programming. If you
Yeah,
have this one,
yeah,
then you're pretty good.
yeah.
Cool. So one other question, which is also pretty good. So what role does Git repository play for XR developer? I assume you mean using Git and version control. Pretty much that is what that's probably what you mean. I would just add it into the programming. So plus
Mm.
Git, just to keep it really simple. So we don't have like so many must-haves because this
Or
is of course a must-have.
Mhm.
maybe also what Akanksha meant was that maybe for XR developer they would use it as a portfolio piece, the Git repository itself. So if that's the case,
As a
then
portfolio.
yeah, then
Um,
Mhm.
it could play a role of a portfolio for the developer because they could show their work, how well
mhm.
they code, and all of that. Otherwise, let's talk about version control, like you said, Dinesh.
Exactly. As a portfolio, it's not bad. It's okay. But having something like, again, immersive talents is so much cooler because it just shows all of your projects in an overview, immediately accessible. And people who are not technical can also check out your portfolio because on
Yeah,
Git it's a bit scary for non-developers. That is why I think it's okay to have it. Um, my question now. Let me just put it here. So, how do you currently see the future of developing XR? Will it grow only when we have better hardware? That's a really good question. I mean, it's not a ranking question, but still, let's try to tackle it real quick. My God, how do you currently see the future of developing XR? Will it only grow when we have better hardware? I think it will not. I mean, it will grow with better and new hardware, but it will not only grow because of the new and better hardware. So, what I mean by that, we will have like the ecosystem of the XR industry is continuously growing. Um, People are seeing more value that can be created with VR and AR, so you can use it in a lot more business use cases, which is something I'm really passionate about, just using it in enterprise, for example. But also a lot more people are getting aware of that because of the Apple Vision Pro and Meta Quest 3 and many of these devices. So that will also lead to a lot of growth. And yeah, I think it's not limited by the hardware. Maybe Jad, Ashra, you guys can also share what you think about that.
yeah. I
Mm,
personally think that uh, developing in XR right now, you have a lot of potential. You have so many different things that you can do right now without any more additions to the hardware. There's already so many avenues that we haven't explored yet. Of course, adding and having better hardware will increase that space that we can explore. Like some
Hmm.
people have mentioned in the comments, like having haptic feedback being more implemented into the kinds of or having more intricate haptic feedback as hardware, having different senses added. I don't know, maybe smell in the future and things like that.
Hmm.
Like, of course, that will change how we develop in XR. It will just make it a lot of a larger playing field, a larger canvas to be able to design on, I would say.
Hmm.
yeah. I think to answer this question better, I have the same Quest 2, same Quest 3, and with just a software update, now Meta is able to map your hands and controller at the same time. So you
Hmm.
don't need an extra hardware for that. It's just a software update that can fix a lot of things.
Very good
Right.
point also here. Yeah, one thing that I would love to also address because it's a must, it's an ST one, XR prototyping tools. So of course, like these three combined is your key as an XR designer. So XR prototyping tool, what do you mean by that? Basically, also here, yeah, I can just go ahead, just like I did with the game engines. 1 second, make this a bit longer, and now here we basically have shapes XR slash Bezier. Like these are really the go-to tools that we have currently for designing and prototyping XR tools. I think these are amazing. We work together with Shapes XR. We have a good collaboration going on. So as a XR designer, honestly, I can tell you like these two tools are really like the Figma for XR. I mean, I am on Figma right now, so you can see. I think that is really a good comparison. And these will probably be like your daily bread when building prototypes and designing XR experiences, just because you are so much faster, and these are specifically built for XR designers. So that is why I would put this one here as an S tier, of course. Maybe for developer on B tier, I would say recommend. It's good to use, but it's not like really astonishing important.
Yeah. Dinesh, I would like to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I think you have your name tag changed to Ashrai for some reason.
Oh, good to know. I'm not Ashray, but yeah.
Something to connect to this XR prototyping. A lot of people are asking in the comments, what is better for a developer to create XR projects? Would it be the MetaQuest 2 or MetaQuest 3? And for XR prototyping, since the Quest 3 has more capabilities, it has color pass through, it has better uh, tracking and all of that, I think definitely Quest 3 would be the better option. It will give you a lot more options to design for. So definitely for that, it
Mm-hmm.
gets the higher spot. Of course, Quest 2 is a bit cheaper, but and it's still a very good product. Like Ashray said, the Quest 2 is getting features that the Quest 3 has through software update. But of course, hardware is hardware, and if you have better hardware, you'll be able to do better things as well. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah, I think the tier list is going to a good size right now. I
yeah.
think we can take a couple of more questions and
Mm.
then we can jump into the conclusion announcements. So, chat, is there any skill, tool, strategy thing that you want us to rank for you for developers or designers? And we always have to think about Jad Ashray that there's a slight delay, so the
Yeah.
replies will come a little bit later.
There's a couple questions here that I think are really interesting to talk about.
Hmm.
Caro's asking, where can I find good ideas to make projects for my portfolio?
Wait a second. Ye-
1849.
Yeah, here. That's a good question. Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, for me personally, since I'm using LinkedIn, I'm seeing a lot of different ideas on LinkedIn that can be taken as inspiration. Of course, you can upgrade them with your own creativity to make your portfolio pieces. Other than that, you have a lot of YouTube channels that cover XR productions, like Immersive Insiders. So, watching different YouTubers create XR projects will give you ideas for your portfolio.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
Absolutely.
really like the one thing that Dinesh always tells. So you don't have to build something new. You can take this existing one and make it look a lot better, and that will still add
Yeah.
on to your portfolio.
Hmm.
Hmm. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, that is a really good question here. And I don't know the definitive answer, like the exact answer to this. The importance of lead code. You guys know lead code, right?
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
not familiar. Oh, I do. Yeah, yeah, I do.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like these coding challenges where
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
rank yourself. That
Hmm.
is a really good question. Oof. I'm not so sure how to. Let me just write
Yeah.
it down. Lead code. Um. Hmm. Oh,
I think the questions on lead code are more like help you prepare to solve a program logically, which might not be the case in Unity if you're using for VR development. For example, if you have to make some interaction happen, you're just going to use the API calls and do it directly. I haven't come across a situation where I have to solve a programming by using logic type of questions that they ask on lead code.
mm-hmm. So what would you say, Ashray?
I think somewhere slightly below B tier for developers, and for designers, you can just throw it out. They don't need
Yeah, for
it.
designers, we can just have it. We have our first trash tier, finally. Very good.
Maybe we can talk about storytelling next.
Or F tier. Yes, storytelling. I mean, I'm a bit biased on this one. I don't think it's like super essential for developers. It's really important for create like content creators, for um designers. I would say it's a recommended one, but not highly recommended. Maybe a little bit like in the high recommended personally.
Yeah,
Um,
Simon says storytelling is a way to present the goal of your application as a concept that can change during development or solid storyboard that shows all. I think
mhm.
an important part of the storytelling thing is onboarding. Uh, Onboarding is a very important thing in VR
Oh
to
yeah.
get someone to understand what your project is, how to use it, and all of that. Storytelling can definitely help with that. But from a
Mhm.
design perspective, it makes a lot of sense to have it. It's not necessary, so somewhere around B tier is good, I think, like you put it
Mhm.
there, Dinesh.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree on that. Um. Oh, 1 second. I'm distracted by changing a nice color. There we go.
Yeah.
So, oops. How to design from scratch workflow for XR environment. Sometimes the questions are a bit hard to understand. How to design from scratch workflow for XR environment.
Yes. So how would you start with designing an XR environment? I think that's something where we a bit covered when we talked about XR prototyping with Shapes
Yes.
XR.
I would
Mhm.
say they are. I mean, if we talk about design, I would start with a blank canvas on Shape6R or on Bezi, and then really like building out your interactions. But if you're actually building an environment, I would get some inspiration on the Unity Asset Store, for example. And I mean, like if you want to build a virtual environment, the best case, the best thing to do is check out Unity Asset Store and see these environments, which one you want to build, if that is what you mean. But if you're actually like designing something like an interaction design or like an app design, which is not specifically a virtual environment, but like more like an interaction environment, then I would start with these prototyping tools. You also don't need to add the virtual environment, like all of these crazy graphical things into the prototyping tool like Shapes or Bezi. But if you want to then have the visuals, you would then bring it into a game engine like Unity or Unreal. And for making the environment, there are lots of tutorials. We also probably have a lot of them also.
There's a
Yes.
question by Anthony. He
Hmm.
asks, "Is there a guide to becoming an XR developer?"
Yes, our XR roadmap course. Maybe, and that's not staged. I don't know this Anthony guide. But honestly, let me just show. I mean, we can.
And it's a free course. That's the
And it's a
best
free
thing.
course. Like I'm not trying to sell you guys anything. Don't worry. You can actually check out this free course XR roadmap for beginners, and this is literally like the exact guide that every designer developer needs that you want to check out. Like you see the overall strategy, the overall structure, and how you get started. Why you should focus on fundamentals, how to get started, learn a game engine. I think everything probably we have an S tier is being covered on this most likely. is being
Yeah.
covered on this course. So, and you see like everything is free here. So that is something that you want to check out. Immersive Insiders XR Roadmap. This course will cover it all. And for more specifics, we have other free courses as well, which is our Unity course, which is also giving a free overview of everything. And then otherwise, you can just check out the other things. That should cover all of that.
Yes.
Cool.
And we will add a link in the description on YouTube, I guess.
Yeah, that's no
Yeah.
problem. I mean, Khaled also just posted it. Thank you, man.
Yes. Thank you,
Is there
Khaled.
any question that you guys asked that we didn't cover yet? So maybe there were like a lot of questions, so we probably missed some. If we missed your question, now's your last chance to throw it in. We will make a few more questions, and then I would say we can close this off and get into the announcements. What are the? Oh yeah, that's a good question. Maybe you guys can cover it.
What are debugging techniques for beginners? Debugging techniques.
Yeah.
Um,
I think as a developer, you can. Are you asking as a developer or designer? That's the first
I mean, I
question.
think as a
Because
developer, I don't know
yeah.
designers as debugging.
So I think the best technique would be to have debug logs at some certain stages of your programming to see where something is going wrong and stuff like that. That's the first thing that I do. That to see if something is working or no, I just have something called as debug log, which is in place, and it gives you some value, and that's how you know if something is working or not.
right. And I think in most cases for developers and designers, what you can also do is if you're getting a specific error or something, you can always Google that and
Yeah.
read about different Reddit posts that cover the specific issue that
Yeah.
you're having. There's a lot
Hmm.
of them, and even some YouTube videos. So that's one way to do it. Of course, you can test it multiple times and try to change different aspects of your program to see if it's working, what's not working, and all of that. There's also when it comes to debugging, if you're using the Meta SDK, for example, there are ways to test your projects without having to put them on the headset, right? You can simulate the headset and the controllers. So there are different ways to do it depending on what tools you're using.
Hmm.
Yep.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I think there are no further questions. Looks like. Oh, wait, there's one actually. Can you tell about project and team management remotely? Anna already covered that. Our core tool that we use is Notion. We use Notion for literally everything. I think, I mean, maybe I can list our stack of the important tools we use for managing our company because we are remote. And I would say that we are pretty efficient with how we work and pretty asynchronous. So I'm generally really happy with that. We use Slack for communication, which is just a normal chatting tool, really good, really helpful. We use Notion for project management, for our content production, for our management of everything, basically. Like most of the things that we do are in Notion. And we use the Google Suite for email, all of that stuff. Anything I missed? I think that is like, I mean, like 95% is Notion,
Yeah,
basically,
that's
I would
basically
say.
it. So
If you
maybe
have,
we can put the project management one, the project management bubble. I guess it's the same for both developer and designer, right?
it's like optional, like high
Yeah,
optional,
yeah.
I would say. Okay.
Depends on the size of the team as well, of course. But, yeah.
Oh, somebody asked for the YouTube channel name as well as the link. Yes, we can do that. Um, what is the best way? First of all, yeah, the best way you just go Dinesh Puni, and then you probably find me on YouTube. I guess. Yeah, there we go. So that is the YouTube channel. I mean, we have two channels, by the way. That's important to know. So you literally just throw in my name. It's also going. It's live on YouTube as well at the moment. So here you see like all of these XR related videos, AR, VR business ideas, everything you need, how to get started, etc., etc. So that can be really helpful for learning the big picture ideas. And then we have Immersive Insiders, which I can also highly recommend. It's also streaming here,
Oh, and
which
there's the
is
footage video.
oh yeah,
There it is.
there's a QR code as well. So
That's the
here,
QR code to the course.
oh no, that looks yeah, that's our course. I will talk about that in a second. So here we have Immersive Insiders. As you guys can see, Ashray and George, our amazing developers, they are making tutorials like crazy. Here we have the Fruit Ninja game example for as well. And for courses, you could just check out Immersive Insiders, and then you should be able to find everything as well.
Yes.
Um, oh, the writing is small, and I am unable to see it. I don't know what exactly you mean with the writing is small, but
The name of the channels. Maybe we can write them in the
Yeah,
chat.
I think we can write in the chat.
yeah, we just throw all of that in the chat on LinkedIn and on YouTube, and then we are good to go. All
There
right.
is one technical question which I'd like to answer,
Oh yeah,
and
go
that
ahead.
is from Khaled, which says, "Do we need to know the inner understanding of game engine to create XR app?" And to answer it, I think it is yes, because even though your SDK is powerful and you don't know how the game engine works, then you might not be able to build an app. From my personal experience, like in my initial days when I was starting with it, uh, to go a little bit in depth, there's something called as start method and on enable method and on awake method. So if your line of code is not in the right place, then the code will not work for
Hmm.
you. So I would say that you need to know how a game engine works internally as well.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
The
one,
text is small again.
yeah, there's one really interesting question that I would like to cover real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Kareem asks, what is something that XR does not yet have the capability of doing that you are looking forward to in the future?
Oh, that is a really good question.
Yeah, it's got me thinking.
Whew. Yeah, then Jaji can start. He had a
I
head
have,
start.
I've thought of something. I think one thing that really impresses us when we go into XR is connecting with people,
Yeah.
being able to talk and feel like you are with someone from any distance that you might be. Like when Ashra and I built this multiplayer game, a multiplayer VR game, and we're able to just talk with each other from all the way across the world. It feels nice. Right now, we cannot yet have our uh, full body replicas, like full body avatars that look exactly like us, that are also living in the same space. So I would love to see in the future when you have high fidelity avatars of ourselves that can blend into uh, our surroundings. So maybe you can have your friend sitting next to you watching a movie, in the sense, in the higher fidelity sense. Because right now we
Mm-hmm.
can do that in VR, but without the high fidelity. I would
Mm-hmm.
like to see the evolution of that to the next step.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing that I have, which I love to see more, which is also getting better and better and better, is the seamless integration to the real world and your actual working place. So like
Mm,
back then, a couple of years ago, you had to set up external cameras, 10,000 cables, a play space, like a big commitment to switch from VR to non-VR. It was like really janky and everything. You had like cables holding you, all of that stuff. Now it's getting better and better. And Meta's making a big change by having the pass through as default. So you're kind of more connected to the real world when using VR. Apple is doing the same thing also. They are also, of course, like leveling up like crazy with the integration of the other Apple products. So if you have the headset on, you can immediately see your screen, which integrates into your headset. You have all of your iPhone apps and photos into your headset. It's really seamless to transition from real to physical. And this is something that is hopefully getting better and better and better. And I think this is also something that I would love to see more, that it's less of a commitment switching to the VR mode.
Yeah.
I mean, like kind of like the phone. Like I just can pick up my phone and I'm on my phone. If we have something slowly like this with VR, I think that is also opening a lot of new use cases. So it doesn't feel like a active thing to go in VR.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would be nice to see the Meta Ray-Ban glasses type of VR headset, and then we would be good to go.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Speaking of Meta, I will now close the questions and jump into a couple of conclusions or a couple of announcements, basically. So we have the agenda, we have the live Q&A, a couple of announcements. First of all, we have more live hangouts coming. So also in the chat, let us know if you like that, what you want us to improve, maybe the times, maybe the date, I don't know really, maybe the structure, whatever you want. If you have any feedback for us, let us know how we can change that or what we can improve for you to make it easier to join these live streams. But again, we are doing more and more with Meta together as well, where us three, we will teach you actually how to get started with building AR, VR, MR apps using the Meta Presence platform. They will be coming in March and April, and they will be pretty awesome. And oh, I just copied this one. More to come. So, for everybody who's on YouTube, feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. And for everybody who's on LinkedIn, feel free to subscribe,
Subscribe to
connect
the
with
YouTube
us
channel.
on YouTube. Exactly. And oh, thank you so much, James. Love the topic that we're covered today. Really happy to hear that.
Thanks
Also,
for
again,
all
like,
the questions. It was really
yes,
nice.
thanks for your questions. Like your questions were amazing. I think we had a really good time. Jad and Ashul also. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
Mm-hmm.
definitely so much fun answering these questions.
Yeah, really, really happy to do more of that. So whatever you have for us, whatever topics you want us to cover, whatever structure you want us to do, whatever direction you want us to go, I'm happy for that. And yeah, I would say let's stay in touch. More to come. Wait a second. Connect on YouTube and LinkedIn. Wonderful. Cool. Then let's close this off. I had an amazing time. I will definitely do more of these and looking forward to the next one.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thank you for joining in. Bye bye.
Bye bye.